Today's episode of Variant is brought to you by Lumosity.
Today on Variant, I'm giving you guys the history of Robin, or Robins. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than that feeling of getting a single cut on wrapping paper with scissors and it sliding all the way through. I'm your host, Arris Quinones. Now, one of the most requested history episodes for me to do has by far been a history of Batman's Robins episode over the years. So, since you guys wanted it and you waited ever so patiently, let's start talking about the most popular sidekick in comics. There's been many different Robins over the years, 5 to be exact, or 6 if you want to count Carrie Kelly, even though her character wasn't created in the Batman and DC Universe's main timeline, but in one of the most popular Batman stories of all time, The Dark Knight Returns. So since that story is so well known, some people still like counting her. With that said though, there's only one way to do this right, and that's starting from the very beginning with the first Robin, working our way down to the current Robin. Robin was created by Bob Kane, Bill Finger, and Jerry Robinson, and first appeared in Detective Comics issue 38. The original purpose and reason for Robin's creation was to attract younger readership, and the idea worked. Robin did attract more readership, and the Batman-related comic book sales doubled. The first person to don the yellow cape was Dick Grayson, and as I just said, Detective Comics issue 38. Son of John and Mary Grayson, circus acrobats, Dick Grayson was born into his parents' famous circus act, the Flying Graysons, who were well known for performing without the safety of a net. While preparing for a performance, Dick overhears 2 gangsters attempting to extort protection money from the circus owner. The owner refuses, so the gangsters sabotage the trapeze wires. During the performance, the trapeze Dick's parents are swinging on snaps, sending them to their deaths. Before he can go to the police, Batman appears to him and warns him that the 2 gangsters work for Tony Zuko, a powerful crime boss, and that by revealing his knowledge, it could lead to his death. So the 2 work together to bring down Zuko. Batman, seeing a little of himself in the young boy, revealed that he was the very same man who had taken him in, Bruce Wayne. Batman then decided he would train the young ward to become his sidekick, teaching him the skills of fighting and detective work. Dick Grayson learned very quickly and joined Batman on the streets of Gotham as Robin, the Boy Wonder. Eventually, Dick Grayson became the founder and leader of the Teen Titans, a group of teen sidekicks just like himself. He then eventually left Batman's side and the Teen Titans, dropping the Robin mantle altogether, becoming one of my favorite characters, Nightwing. The second Robin was Jason Todd. He first became Robin in Batman issue 366, but that was later changed as Crisis on Infinite Earths redid a lot of DC's comic continuity, and of course continuity has changed again with DC's New 52, which has actually affected all the Robin's original continuity a bit, but I'll get into that later. As for how Jason Todd became Robin, well, it goes a little something like this. He had a hard life, his father left him, and his mother died of illness. His neighborhood was full of crime, and Jason lived alone in his mother's apartment, fending for himself with his knowledge of the streets, like a real OG. Until one faithful night in Crime Alley, Jason tried to steal tires off the Batmobile, and was caught in the act by the Dark Knight himself. Bruce saw this meeting as more than just a coincidence, as he was aware of the massive void in his life that Dick Grayson filled and had suddenly opened up once again. So after 6 months of training, Jason Todd became the second Robin. But it was soon clear to Batman that Jason Todd was no Dick Grayson. Not only did Jason Todd lack the acrobatic skills of his predecessor, but he had much more rage. The new Boy Wonder was reckless and disobedient, going so far as to use a gun. Bruce decided to pull Jason out of his duties as Robin. During this time, Jason discovered that Catherine Todd was not his mother at all, and set off to find his real mother, Sheila Haywood. Upon finding her, Jason found out she was being blackmailed by the Joker and betrayed her son to the criminal in order to get out of it. Jason was beaten savagely by the Joker with a crowbar. Joker then tied up his mother and left them in a warehouse wired to explode. Batman raced to the rescue as fast as he could, but he was too late and Jason Todd was dead. What's funny though is the only reason Jason Todd was killed is because of a poll DC made on whether Jason Todd should live or die, and the fans voted he should die. For years he remained dead, but eventually Jason Todd returned from the grave, as all comic book characters tend to do, and became the Red Hood. But before I get into the third Robin, let's take a look at our lovely sponsor.
The layer's awkward, I changed my clothes, whatever, get over it. Do you want to improve your brain performance and live a better life? Sounds intimidating, right? But any brain can get better, and Lumosity can make it easy and fun with games based on neuroscience. Lumosity is like a personal trainer for your brain that lets you build your own customized training program to enhance your memory and attention. Plus, get detailed training summaries and stats to keep track of your progress and see where you need to improve. Over 40 million users have already experienced Lumosity's breakthrough brain training, so what are you waiting for? Start training with Lumosity right now and discover what your brain can do. Check out lumosity.com/variant to get instant access.
The third Robin was Tim Drake. He first appeared as Robin in Batman 442. Tim had followed Batman and Robin's career ever since he saw the murder of the Flying Graysons. Tim had excellent instinct and detective skills. One day he was watching Batman and Robin battle the Penguin on television, and Tim noticed that Robin performed a quadruple somersault, and he remembered seeing Dick do the same exact move while with the Flying Graysons. Tim quickly made the connection that Dick Grayson was Robin and continued to follow the dynamic duo's career for years. After the apparent death of Jason Todd, Batman grew more violent and reckless. Tim noticed this wasn't in Batman's true character, so he sought out the help of Dick Grayson. At this time, Dick had been going by the name Nightwing. Tim tried to convince Dick to retake the mantle of Robin, saying it was the only way to keep Batman sane. Dick agreed to do this, but said he would only help Batman as Nightwing. Tim did not like this decision and continued to argue that Batman needed a Robin. Eventually, he was able to get Alfred to assist in altering the Robin costume so that he could help Batman himself. Alfred and Dick gave Tim their approval as the new Robin, but only so he can keep Batman sane. However, Batman did not want a new partner, but also added the boy has potential. Eventually, Batman skeptically accepted Tim as Robin, but under one condition. Tim had to endure physical and mental training from Bruce before he could become Robin so that he would not suffer the same fate as Jason Todd, and gave Tim a modernized version of the Robin costume. Tim's father eventually finds out he's Robin and forced him to give up the role of Robin due to the dangers of it. Tim was then replaced by his girlfriend Stephanie Brown, who was spoiler at the time, but gave that up to become the fourth Robin. Her career of Robin was short-lived due to Batman firing her from the sidekick role after she disobeyed his orders on more than one occasion, although she did become the blonde blue-eyed Batgirl all fanboys drool over. Tim eventually decided to become Robin once more against his father's wishes, but despite the dangers, he reluctantly allowed Tim to continue as Robin. After Batman's apparent death and Batman RIP, Tim still believed Bruce was alive and leaves the role of Robin and assumes the identity of Red Robin, leaving Gotham in a worldwide search for Bruce Wayne. Which brings us to the fifth and most current Robin, Damian Wayne. As Damian Wayne's last name suggests, he's the son of Bruce Wayne and his mother is Talia al Ghul, and he first became Robin in Batman and Robin issue 1. It was revealed in the Batman and Son storyline that Talia al Ghul had drugged Batman one night out somewhere in the desert and how you say had her way with him and became impregnated with Bruce Wayne / Batman's child. But rather than carry the child for 9 months and give birth like a normal woman, Damian was grown in an artificial womb to make sure he was genetically perfect. After years of training from her in the League of Assassins, she captured Batman and revealed she had a son with him, at which now she was leaving in his care. Flash forward to when Bruce apparently died, Dick Grayson took over the mantle of Batman and made Damian Wayne the new Robin. Upon Bruce Wayne's return to the role of Batman, Damian Wayne continued his role as Robin, but this time along his father's side. Damian Wayne was eventually killed by the hands of his clone, the Heretic, earlier this year in Batman Incorporated issue 8. Now, some of you guys may be saying, Arris, that's a spoiler, and no, it's not. That's like common knowledge by now. It's like the equivalent of saying Superman was killed by Doomsday. Everyone knows that. So as of right now, Batman is Robin-less, but it's only a matter of time before someone else puts on the yellow cape once again. The final Robin, who isn't necessarily in canon but is popular enough for me to talk about, is Carrie Kelly, who appears in the possible future for Batman in the storyline The Dark Knight Returns. She's a 13-year-old girl who was rescued by Batman from a gang of street thugs. The girl idolized the Dark Knight and secretly spent her lunch money to buy a costume in hopes one day catching her hero's attention in order to become his sidekick. Armed with a slingshot and firecrackers, much like Dennis the Menace, Carrie targeted con men and eventually crossed paths with her idol, and saved Batman during a vicious fight with the gang known as the Mutants, at which point the Dark Knight accepted her as the new Robin. Now, as I said earlier, DC's New 52 affected all the Robins' history a bit, but for the most part, all of their origins and how they became Robin did stay the same, minus some changes here and there, but some changes were for the better in my opinion, and others didn't matter either way. It got the same point across. But I do recommend checking them out for yourself in their Zero issues. You have Dick Grayson's origin in the Nightwing Zero issue, Jason Todd's in Red Hood and the Outlaw Zero issue, Tim Drake's in the Teen Titans Zero issue, and Damian Wayne's in Batman and Robin Zero issue. First up for Wednesday, September 25th, we have Guardians of the Galaxy issue 6. The blockbuster new series hits hard as Marvel's newest superstar, Angela, comes right for the Guardians. Next, we have The Dark Knight 23.4, The Joker's Daughter. The Gotham Underground is quickly becoming the base of power in the DC universe. After the destruction of Arkham Asylum, The Joker's Daughter is getting hordes of followers across the terrifying and brutal landscape. Here we have Green Lantern 23.4, Sinestro. Years ago, Sinestro used his Green Lantern ring to utterly dominate his home planet, all in the name of protecting his
people, but one never-before-seen moment from those dark days holds the key to his future. And finally, we have Detective Comics 23.4 Man-Bat. Dr. Landstrom has given in to the Man-Bat side of his personality. Left unchecked in a world without heroes, he brutally stalks his prey in Gotham City. If Landstrom won't stop himself, who will? Before I leave you guys for today, I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be at Fan Days in Irving, Texas, which pretty much is just Dallas Comic-Con. And for those of you who've been watching the show for a while, you know I go there pretty much every year. So if you see me walking the floor, be sure to say hi and talk to me. I'm always down to talk and chat with you guys. Also, my friend Tom from Tom's Autograph and Collectibles is also going to be there. Got a bunch of new comics signed from Baltimore Comic-Con with artists like David Finch, Ivan Reis, Ed McGuinness, and a bunch of other writers and people in the comic industry. So if you see his booth, be sure to stop by. And that wraps up another episode of Variant for today. But remember, you can like our Variant Facebook page, keep up with the show and all things comic related. You can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Arris_Quinones. But that is it, and we must part ways once again until next week when I talk about all things comics at all and set off to find his real mother. Mary Grayson, circus acrobats, bats, acrobats.